In this video, I'm going to discuss derivation 1.107. So let's see, we'll start by showing the conclusion. And we'll assume the antecedent. And the antecedent is if P then Q, then if P then R. And we can show the consequent. And the consequent is a conditional. We're going to show the consequent because the main thing we're trying to show is conditional. So if we show line 3, we'll be done. So we'll assume CD. And again, we can show the consequent of line 3. And we'll assume CD again. We could do show consequent. We could do this. But as it turns out, that's unnecessary, so I'm not going to bother. Alright, so at this point we have, what we want to do is get R, because then we'll be able to box and cancel by CD. And we have if P then Q, we have P, we have Q, and we have if P then Q, then if P then R. So if we look at line 2, we say, look, if we could get the antecedent, we could do modus ponens, and we would get if P then R. And that would be really useful, because if we got if P then R, we could do modus ponens using P, and if P then R, we would get R, which is what we just said we wanted, because R is what we need to box and cancel line 5. So if we can get this, we can get that. If we get that, we use this to get this, which is what we want to box and cancel that. So what we want to do is get if P then Q. So how can we do that? Well, there are a couple of ways. We could just say show ant of 2, and now we say, okay, we're trying to get if P then Q. Now how can we box and cancel this line? Well, we can box and cancel this line if we get the consequent. And what's the consequent to Q? And oh look, we have Q on line 6, so we can repeat Q. We can say 8 CD, and we have if P then Q. Indeed, we could be even quicker, because we could use the derived rule MC, which I've talked about in some of the recent videos, and we'd put P in the antecedent, and we would have if P then Q. So we could get if P then Q, either way we get if P then Q from 6. Either we show if P then Q, repeat 6, and do CD, or we just directly apply the MC rule if you've derived the relevant theorem. It's theorem 2 or theorem 18. In any case, now that we have if P then Q, we can use if P then Q with line 2 for modus ponens to get if P then R. And now we'll bring down, we'll apply the P with the conditional line 11, which gives us R, which is the consequent of what we were trying to show. And this is the consequent of that. Having just shown this, we can now box and cancel. We just showed this. It's the consequent of that, of this whole thing. And so we can box and cancel there. And that's 107.